Sorry about that. My modem ran out of battery. It's plugged in now. Anyway, I was saying that because I'm part Scottish, I'm likely to be sensitive to wheat. This will be a short one just to kind of close things out. Hi, Jason. Ah, Lord. Hi, HB. I was over an hour into a live stream when my modem ran out of battery, so I had to plug it in and start over. Man. I tried connecting to the hotspot on my phone, but it was not working very well. Hi, Witta. Lord. I need to remember to plug in my modem when I'm on live so it doesn't run out of juice. So, Scottish people tend to be sensitive to wheat. For hundreds of years, if not thousands, Scottish people have depended upon oats as a grain for cereal, for haggis, for making bread. Wheat was too expensive and hard to find. And now they say that people with a wheat sensitivity should avoid oats, but I think they're wrong. Scottish people eat lots of oats. There's a car out front. Well, I don't think they're... it might be a delivery truck, but I'm not expecting anything. The cats say, oh, they're coming here. We'll see. Yeah, I love oatmeal too. I get the 5-minute kind. The instant is crap. The 1-minute kind is okay, but the 5-minute old-fashioned oats, that's good stuff. I did try steel cut oats, but first off, they take 20 minutes to cook, and second, I'm not impressed. If you soak the steel cut oats in cold water for 5 minutes and then boil them for 20 minutes, they come out a little better. But yeah, they're like glue. You're right, Dawn. It's like eating school paste, school glue. I don't think they're coming here, Tora. It's a big white something. I can't tell through the window. I can't see enough of it. Might be some kind of tanker, like a carrying propane or milk or whatever. Tora, quit pawing me. She taps me with her paw when she wants something, and it's nearly always cat treats. So here you go. You're going to be fat and diabetic, Tora. Treats are not food. Here, Patches. Here, Tutu. Here, 3C. And Tora. I don't see Smokey or Sweetie at the moment. Someone needs to remind me in the chat every morning to plug in my modem so it doesn't run out of battery. Jeez. I'm still waiting for my author copies of Dreamscape from Fractured Mirror Publishing. Is it Dreamscape or Somnoscope? It's Somnoscope. I got Dreamscape. That was the Mirror Cracked, and it was Mirror Maze, not Dreamscape. Why do I say Dreamscape? I'm not sure. I don't. There must be some book called Dreamscape, or a magazine, a periodical. Anyway, it's Somnoscope. Let's see. Somniscope. Somni meaning sleep, and scope basically to look at. Like a telescope, you can see the distance. Tele being distant. But you can buy it on Amazon. Somniscope. Somniscope. I had pulled out my book on, it's not exactly grammar, it's more like how to write better. And I thought I might go into it today. Of course, I had to remember that I wanted to go into it. Effective communication skills. It's a workbook, but since I was the teacher, I did not do any of the work. Why would I? But what I want to find is things that are redundant. Well, let's see. Betty, do dog. I know it's in here somewhere. Is there no, there's no index. It's more about style than grammar. Maybe it wasn't this book. I had a book with a list of things that are redundant. I'll have to play with that later. But one of my favorites is continue on. Continue means go on. So when you say continue on, you are saying go on. L. Freeman found 2 really good English grammar books, Little Brown Handbook and English Grammar by L. Sue Baugh. Baugh or Bow, Baugh. Yes, continue is also carry on if you happen to be British. Americans sometimes use that phrase, but it's more common in England. And I'm really upset with my college. They've gone back to calling every alumnus an alumni, because alumnus is male and alumna ending in A is female, and they kept calling me an alumni, the plural. Well, nowadays it really works, because just like the word they, alumni is the proper word to use for someone of unknown gender. If you don't know whether a person is a man or a woman, you say they, because you don't know whether it's he or her. Is Tutu helping Patches eat her treats? Well, if Patches won't eat them, you can. I don't care. Patches wants to have treats, not necessarily eat them. So, Freeman says El Su Bao it's pronounced Bao or Ba. Bawa? Probably Ba. Yeah, the thing about actresses being called actors has been going on since the late 70s. Oh no, your waitress is not your waiter anymore, at least not in California. No waitresses, no waiters, they're all servers. And on the airplane, you don't have a steward and a stewardess. You have, what are they called? I forget what they're called now. Well, there are those among us who are kind of old. We'll just say, just don't call me late for dinner. Well, it isn't Sky Person, Don, but it's a good way to put it. I don't remember. Well, I almost never fly. Let's see, I flew once when I was 17, and once with Phil, and once to get home from Seattle, and twice to Denver. I've flown 5 times in my life. Oh, I have nothing but respect for the wait staff in restaurants. They take a lot of crap, and they don't deserve it. If your food is wrong, no, well, I do, but almost nobody goes back and tells the chef. They complain to the server, and they walk their feet off. They make sure everything's all right. They really work hard. And they are not paid much. They depend upon tips to survive. So there's a movie called Waiting, and a movie, Witta says there's a movie called The Menu. Haven't seen them, but I'll have to look them up. So anyway, now that my modem is on the charger, I do try to tip well. I rarely eat out, but when I do, I'm splurging. it's special. And usually, not always, but usually, if I'm eating out, someone else is paying. And we do not go to high-end restaurants, just the local cafe or, God forbid, fast food. Although some of the hamburger places are not bad. I'm trying to remember. In-N-Out is pretty darn good, but they're leaving all kinds of areas because of crime. What's the other one? Baker's. Baker's has awesome hamburgers. I can't eat them often. I have trouble digesting beef, but you don't tip at those places. Well, tipping is an American thing, apparently. In many parts of Asia, you do not tip, but their wait staff are very well paid. They don't need your tip. In some places, if you leave cash on the table, they'll run out to the parking lot and give it back to you when you're headed toward your car. Well, I don't think it's a delivery van because it's still there. Delivery vans don't stay long. Anthony says we tip in the UK, but only 10% normally. Well, here in the States, 20% is normal. 20% used to be if the service was really excellent. Now it's pretty much standard. Freeman says we're going to have maximum security McDonald's. Well, they pretty much are anyway. They want you to place your order at a kiosk. I've tried that. And frankly, it took so long to find what I wanted that I gave up and got in line. It was quicker to see the human. And besides, I want to make sure that people have jobs. And after the various YouTube videos I've seen, I'm going to avoid self-checkout like the plague. They've put in so many security measures that they're actually grabbing honest people and accusing them of shoplifting. Like they scan something and they don't notice that the machine did not record it. Or they have a lot of things in their cart and they miss one. The real shoplifters come in gangs, fill their carts, and run out of the store. They don't go to self-checkout. Yeah, touch screens in McDonald's, Anthony. I haven't been to McDonald's since before COVID. I used to go once in a while to get the fillet of fish. It's the only thing there that I like. Even the Big Mac isn't very good, and it used to be awesome. They've cut down on things like sauces, and I'm pretty sure they've cut down on the meat. at least on its quality. It just isn't the same. Oh, you can buy a little extra tub of extra secret sauce from McDonald's, uh, but it isn't worth what it costs you. So I got ear itchies. I'll take the burger home and pour some Thousand Island dressing on it. Yes, Dawn, you're right. A lot of the world has become sad and unsafe because of poverty and money and drug addicts. Ah, Freeman says there's some good news on this. Years ago, the Japanese found out that their best robot was dumber than the stupidest human. Yeah, Phil warned us. Remember, I think it was the story in Playboy. The exit door leads in. The guy orders a hamburger from a robot and then changes his mind, and the robot says, "You can't change your mind." $2 for a hash brown at McDonald's? Yeah, that is expensive, Dawn. Well, the thing is, you're not really paying for the food, you're paying for the labor. And I'm not thrilled with the way they keep replacing humans with machines that do the cooking. For example, if you get a grease fire on the stove, yes, the system will do whatever it does to put out the fire, but the other the other machine that's still making hamburgers doesn't even know it, so it just keeps making hamburgers. The McDonald's chicken used to be good, but now it's all bread, overcooked, so the bread is like rocks and not much chicken inside. Oh well, now I want one of those hamburgers from Baker's. But recently, the food bank gave me a pound of pretty darn good hamburger meat, so I had a couple homemade burgers. I like those too. Everything's expensive, especially in California and New York. Yep. Now Don is hungry. He's going to have to make some oatmeal. Well, low wages are not necessarily a bad thing, as long as prices are also low. It's a scam to increase the minimum wage, because what that really means is we can keep the prices high and keep the wages high and collect more taxes on both of them. The government makes out like a bandit on higher prices and higher wages. And maybe 10 years from now, they'll lower the tax rate. But by then, you'll be making $200 an hour, and a bowl of oatmeal will cost you at least $25. The last time they increased the minimum wage, many people were complaining. I take home less money now. It's all going to taxes. And that's what you want to focus on, is what do you take home? California is in deep financial trouble. The government keeps spending more money than they have. Well, slumlording is a huge problem. But you got to look at it too from the landlord's perspective. They have to make some profit, and especially when things are rent controlled, they actually lose money if they fix your plumbing and make sure the heating is working and so forth. I lived in basically a slum apartment in Fullerton for 2 years. And whenever something needed fixing, I had to pay for it. But they kept the place clean. It had a swimming pool and a little laundromat with washers and dryers. You had to put a couple quarters in them, coins. But they kept the place up. It was nice. But when someone broke one of my windows, I had to pay for a new window. And when the kitchen drain clogged, I didn't clog it. It was the apartment next door that was hooked up to the same drain pipe, but I had to pay half the plumber's bill. Oh my God. Witta, in Florida, at least $2,000 plus first month's rent to move in. And that's cheap. Most places are a $5,000 deposit. That's horrible. Well, really, Anthony, lots of tax in the UK goes straight to landlords and housing benefits. Well, I'm sorry, Freeman, that you had to put up with a real slumlord. Yeah. Tora, don't paw at my envelope full of documents. It doesn't have any treats in it. God, you're heavy. Fat the water rat. I learned that little phrase from Get Smart when 99 was pregnant. She kept crying, and Maxwell Smart kept asking her why, and she was, well, why don't you just say it? Fat the water rat. All right, kitties. God. Give one cat a treat, you have to give treats to all of them. Well, you can't beat California's climate and geography, but if I could afford to leave, I would. Although, if I ever win the lottery, I'm going to fund some programs at our schools. Our schools on the mountain are better than most, but they really need help with their band and orchestra. At the very least, providing instruments can't afford them. A violin, net or something. And it's always had a high school. I think the elementary, I don't have to give money to the school. what the way we're set up, the music program is separate from the school board. The sports program gets its own direct donations that the school board never touches, and the music programs do as well. Sound is gone? That's weird. Looks good here. Well, it's odd. Who knows? YouTube hates me. Um, and our school has a program that's also separate from the school board, where they provide basics, not just for low income. Anybody is free to get a snack or a warm jacket, a pair of shoes. Yeah, I forget what it's called, but it is not a part of the school system. So donations to the program that provides a little food and clothing, the donations go directly to them. The school board never touches it. And most of their donations are like clothing or store-bought snacks. And the government, in their infinite wisdom, banned them from handing out food, even if it's a can of soda or a little packet of granola, trail mix. Can't do it. So, eye itchies. They've come up with a system where teachers can have a little supply of snacks in their own closets. And any student who asks can have a little snack. Oh, eye itchies. Ow. Can we talk about 1982 or 93? Freeman, before I sign off, I should do that. 1982, March 2, Phil died. In the hospital. The cause of death was a heart attack, but he was there because he had a massive stroke. I had a devil of a time. I had to hire attorneys to get in to see him, and especially to get his son in to see him. I could not let him go without our son saying goodbye. And then we had this battle for administering the estate. Now, Laura is a lovely person, but she did not know her father, and she did not know anything about his business, his writing. But After the crap I heard in that courtroom at the hearing, I didn't want it anymore. The hospital kept insisting that, on the word of a person named Mary, no one could see him but her, and she was no relation to him. But she had apparently called the ambulance and signed him into the hospital. Well, when Phil's daughter Laura came, of course she got to see him, but she wouldn't let me see him. So I had to have the attorneys talk to her attorneys. And then Laura came through. She did the right thing. Every once in a while, I tried to see him every day because it's horrible to be paralyzed, lying in intensive care alone. And usually on a Saturday, they would say, no, you can't see him. So I'd call my attorney, they'd call her attorney, and Laura would call the hospital and tell them to let me see him. Well, let's see. Phil was 52 years old. Some of the obituaries said 53, but he would not turn 53 until December, and this was February. His official date of death is March 2, but he was pretty much gone in February. It, he wanted so hard to communicate, but he couldn't. Half of his body, the left half, was paralyzed. He couldn't speak. I think he was in the hospital for a total of 2 weeks. Yes, Witta, more fruit can't hurt you. Of course, the sugar Nazis disagree. When I was younger, I would eat tons and tons of candy and donuts and cookies. And my blood pressure was normal. Blood sugar was always normal whenever they checked it. My blood pressure is always low. Sometimes they would ask me how I managed to remain conscious because it was so low. Yes, he was born in 28, L. Freeman. Okay. So he was 53. I was saying 2 and 3. I'm confusing him with someone else. Okay, 50, 28 to 82 is 54 years, but he was really 53. Thank you. A friend who died young also ended up with the wrong age, and he was 51. Uh, No, Phil did not die in the saddle. He was alone in his apartment, his condo that he owned, thanks to Blade Runner, and just fell down with a stroke. And when he did not show up, he failed to show up for his weekly visit to Tim Powers, they got worried and checked on him. They had to, of course, get help because his front door was locked. But he was all alone for about one day. He had had a dream in the 70s in which he saw himself lying on the floor, unable to move. Hi, Ditch. You missed the first session, which ended abruptly because my modem ran out of juice. You all need to remind me, plug in the modem so it doesn't run out of battery. Anyway, yeah, Phil, I don't know what he wanted to say. I did bring in a pad of paper and a pen, but he couldn't hold the pen and write because his right arm was in a splint and had all his tubes dripping medication into him. Okay. That was so long ago. More than 40 years. Yeah, I have that book too, Ditch. Philip K. Dick is dead, alas. I think I have it. I have a whole bunch of so-called biographies that are, I'm just not impressed. If you want the real scoop, get Greg Rickman's books. Greg Rickman did a fine job interviewing Phil and people who knew him, but mostly Phil. One of the worst is I Think I Am Philip K. Dick. It isn't really about Phil. Well, I've been selling lots of books through a friend who has a strong eBay account and connections with people who are looking for books by and about Philip K. Dick. So I think I'll send him the biographies. I have to read Anne's book. When it first came out, it was like $100 for the hardcover, and there was no paperback. But last time, the second visit to his grave, someone was selling the paperback for $10, so I bought it. Oh, and I have a book with comical errors. For example, just in the first chapter, it has Phil married to Anne before he met her. Okay, Ditch, what's not respectable? Oh, the title of that book. Yeah. But anyway, I'm really dragging here. I'm surprised I held out this long. I haven't finished my first cup of coffee. But since you're asking about Phil, I'll make a new cup of coffee and you can put your questions in the chat. Don't go away, I'll be back. Oh man, it is morning. I took the mug of tea in and put instant coffee in it. Let's do this right. I'll be right back. Oh, Lord. Okay, Tora, knock it off. Tora wants my last can of people tuna. She'll have to wait. Uh, okay, when the tea kettle whistles, I'll have to leave you again. No, I don't still have Phil's typewriter. I had it and I gave it to my son and he gave it to his sisters. And that's okay. Hey, come on. Tora, get off my desk. Knock it off. She thinks that if she gets into my mug of water or coffee, I'll have to give her treats. Well, they couldn't put his IV needles in the other arm because it was paralyzed. So it wouldn't circulate properly in his veins. Yeah, tea coffee, also known as dirty chai. Some people love it. I don't. Ditch has a living will that says at his funeral he wants the contents of his hard drive displayed to the mourners. Tora, get out of my stuff! Get! That's my desk. Freeman wants none of his data deleted. He's going to finish either a living trust or a will. Need to find the right lawyer, but that's the problem. Actually, you can get the forms online and fill them out yourself. You should get them notarized. Most banks and real estate offices have notaries who can do that for you. And make sure you have 3 copies, one for you, one for a trusted friend or family member, and one for probably a lawyer. Okay, the tea kettle's calling me. It's screaming. I'll be right back. Tora, get out of my way, please. Shut up. Cats are making me crazy. Quit. Lord, won't you find me a good kitty cat? Cats are all bad at looking at their pets. Lord, won't you find me a good kitty cat? Coffee, Tora. This is coffee. You don't drink coffee. Stop it. Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a good kitty cat? Not much hope there. For Don wants people to drink beer at his funeral and some whiskey. Play good music and have fun. So you want a wake, an Irish wake. Ah, ah. I don't need a Mercedes Benz. I need a good kitty cat. My cats are all bad and they're big and they're fat. So, Lord, won't you buy me a good kitty cat? What would Phil consider a successful life? Well, being kind to others was at the top of his list. Although you wouldn't know it sometimes from the way he treated people he despised. Tora, don't mess with my stuff. She says she'll settle for opening the DOOR so she can go OUT. But it ain't gonna happen right now. It's cold out there. Stalkers, obsessive fans, not really. He probably had some obsessive fans, but I don't think he was stalked by them. I think he was stalked by agents of our government. They thought he was some kind of dangerous radical. He was a liberal Democrat, but he was not a fanatic. The most he ever did was donate to the Was it I think it was the ACLU? I'm not sure. Yeah, Phil loved Janis Joplin. He was really super sad when she died. Of course, that happened before I met him, but he told me about it while playing her music. And her hit Bobby McGee was written by the Canadian guy. Was it Gordon Lightfoot? I think. Ditch thinks it was Southern Comfort that killed her, not the heroin. Yeah, Gordon Lightfoot was looked down upon, but yeah, his music was not, classic opera or anything like that. But um, it was pleasant, and other people could sing it. Ordinary, non uh, professional people, everyday people could sing his songs. We had a puppy for a short time, and we called her Gordon Heavyfoot. We thought it was a male, turned out to be a female. Freeman wants a Japanese-style funeral. Oh dear. Well, whatever. Once I'm dead, I don't care what they do with my body because I won't be in it. Don thinks that Tracy Ullman looks just like Joplin. Oh, yeah. He didn't have correspondence with Timothy Leary, just one phone call. But back in the dark ages when he was married to Cleo joined, she was a student and she joined a campus club that was communist. And the FBI came around and they asked Phil to join one of the clubs and just write down who attended and tell the FBI who was at the meeting. And they told him, don't worry about getting people in trouble. Most of them are also informants. In fact, the common wisdom was that if the FBI agents were not members, the clubs would fold because the FBI agents were the only ones who paid their dues. Phil didn't care what kind of funeral he had, and he knew that his father had bought the grave plot when he was an infant so he could be buried next to his sister, and that was fine. Freeman, I'm not following you. Who had a dream guy of a big mountain man? Are you referring to Janis Joplin? Well, I can be paranoid, but I don't take myself seriously when I am. I'm I'm impressed with AOC and the squad sticking to their principles. And I think Phil would agree that we should not be financing foreign wars. Who are Phil's favorite authors? Franz Kafka, um, the author of Day of the Locust, whose name I can't remember. Uh, he liked German poetry, especially Heinrich Heine, and he actually read the librettos, with the words and music to opera. And yes, he did like Wagner's Ring trilogy and Parsifal and Der Freischütz. Um, but he also liked Italian opera. One of his favorite singers was Beverly Sills, who was highly disrespected just because she wasn't Italian. Now, she was not the best prima donna, but she was darn good. Okay, back to books. He read a lot of nonfiction. The Will and Ariel Durant set of books about history. Um, I can't remember whether the book is by or about Harry Stack Sullivan, a famous psychiatrist. He's the guy who went around the ward thinking bad thoughts toward one of the paranoid patients, and the patient walked up to him and repeated all the words that Sullivan had been thinking, not saying out loud. That's right, Jimi Hendrix died, I think, soon after Joplin died, Janis Joplin. Of course, he studied Jungian psychology, not in school, but he read books by and about Carl Jung. Yes, he did once say he loved Madame Bovary. Um, Somewhere, if I ever find it, I've got a list of books that he recommended for me to read. One was Stendhal's The Red and the Black, which I eventually read because I had to in college. Oh, anima. Phil was always talking about how what he looked for in a wife or girlfriend was his anima, his female side. He wasn't too thrilled with the idea of a shadow in psychology. Yeah, he did read Siddhartha, and I did too. I liked that book. Ah, I've got to find my books and papers that are just hiding from me. Witta, is that linked to the exegesis? If it is, they spelled it wrong. Oh, the exit door leads in. Okay. Yeah, that's the one where he orders a hamburger from a robot, changes his mind, and the robot says, "You can't change your mind." Uh, wow. I'm really out of it now. Physically more than mentally, but both. What else did Phil recommend that I read? Oh, I think it was Madame Bovary. Let me see. One of those Russian novels where the woman has an affair and suffers terribly for it. Yeah, that's Madame Bovary. Hi, Angus. I'm about to leave. This is my second stream today because the first one ended when my modem ran out of battery power. Oh, ditch. The Playboy with Phil's story would have been in 1981, but I don't remember what month, what date. Uh, what else did Phil read or recommend? Well, he did like Kafka's The Castle so much he had a copy of it, and I think he had a copy of The Trial as well. Um, I hope I can find that list. It's important. I've given up on finding my sanity. I have cats. They won't let me be sane. They're quite against it. Let's see. Aha. I thought so. I thought it was an important message. It isn't. Okay. Cats. Uh, that's cute, Dawn, about the Wizard of Oz telling Ditch you've had your sanity this whole time. Phil he could be a mean SOB, don't get me wrong, but usually it was justified. Oh, Freeman says, it's perfectly okay to talk to yourself so long as you don't interrupt. My line is, I talk to God all the time, but if he ever answers me, I'll know I've gone insane, or I will go insane. I find in some cases saying things out loud helps me to remember them. Did Phil have a favorite phrase or two? I don't know. When he hugged me or some other woman, he would say he gleeped her. Gleep, gleep. I don't know where he got that. Um, I guess his favorite phrase must have been, just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean that you are not out to get me. Oh, another one of Phil's favorite books. I have his copy, but it got rained on and has water damage. All the President's Men. No, is it President's Men? No, it's something like that. It's a biography of that Louisiana governor. Um, all the King's Men. Thank you. I had got it confused with the thing about Nixon. Why am I blank on the politician's name? He was famous for, oh, Borrowed Angel, you're back, but I'm kind of running out of steam. Huey Long, All the King's Men. Thank you, Ditch. I'm running out of steam, and Tora is not helpful. Now she wants the last can of people tuna. She has ways of communicating what she wants, like running to the DOOR or going to the kitchen counter for tuna. Well, you'll have to wait because I get some of my tuna too. It's mine after all. Tora, quit pawing me. All right. You're going to be fat and diabetic, you know. But you can have some more treats if you'll leave me alone. Here you go, Patches. Here comes Smokey and Tutu and 3C. Oh no, that isn't 3C. Here she is. Tora didn't want that flavor. She wants the other treats. Really? Yeah, this one's empty, I think. No, it isn't. Okay, you want a different flavor. Here you go, 3C. Oh, Patches actually ate her treats, all but one. Okay. 3C. Here, there you go. Oh, criminy. Everybody should have cats, then they would understand. Oh, they make me crazy. Okay, someone's becoming more like Cedric. Uh, And Jim Garrison, I think, wrote about the one about Nixon. My Torah is only Tora. No, Phil did not ride a bike or motorcycle, but he liked to talk to people who did. My Torah is Tora, Japanese for little tiger. Dawn's mom is making bean and potato soup that you always have on Christmas Eve. Oh, Torah's becoming more like Cedric. Okay. Well, I think of, what's his name's cat? That cartoon cat. Wax Froggy Bob? I don't know if you want his real name, but if he wants it out there, but his name is Bob. Yes, it's Year of the Dragon now. I need to find out which dragon. They come in 4 colors. Which dragon this year? The wood dragon. Yeah, but they have colors too. Okay, when is the fire horse year? 2027. See, I was born under the sign of the horse, and supposedly the fire horse year is very bad. For horse people born in the. Well, there was one in 1966. Let's see, I would have been 12 years old. I think I'm a wood horse, but don't quote me on that. I don't believe in astrology, but it's interesting. If I live to 2027, I'll find out what the fire horse year is about. Pinto bean dumplings. Oh, borrowed angel? Anything that's deep fried sounds good to me. I don't make a big pot of oil when I make fried things. Deep fried. I get a big soup pot and put a couple inches of oil in the bottom so that if I accidentally set a grease fire, it won't burn down my kitchen. And if you set a grease fire, do not pour water on it. That just spreads the oil and the flames to a larger area. You can put a lid on the pot. Oh, and you turn off the stove too. Turn off that burner. You can, if all else fails, you can take a kitchen towel and soak it in water and put that on top of your grease fire. But quite often, if you just turn off the flames, it'll go out. Turn off the burner, I mean, the heat underneath. Okay. Oh. Freeman says in Star Trek lore, the year of the fire horse in 2027 was supposed to be the start of the apocalypse war. Oh, let's see, what color dragon this year? Green. Yeah, there's like green, yellow, gold, and white. Um, Phil read some of the thriller novels, detective murder mystery thrillers. I can't pull a name out of my head at the moment, an author's name. Oh, Dawn was born in the year of the cat. That's an amazing song, by the way. So you're a tiger. Angus says Kiss has a song called Fire Horse. Huh. Are they still around? My son was really into Kiss in the early 70s. Dawn is a cat man. Oh, one of those horror movies, Catwoman, comes to mind. It's like a werewolf. The woman turns into a Black Panther and kills people. Actually, most wild animals do not go out of their way to kill humans. Tigers do because they eat us. There are places in the jungles of India where people will wear a face mask on the back of their head so the tiger thinks they're looking at him and is less likely to attack from behind. Oh, Lord. I messed up and I always add a little cold water to my hot coffee so I can drink it right away. And I added too much and my coffee is cold. Yeah, animals conserve energy to hunt for the foods they want to eat. Oh well. Hmm. Okay, which animal? 3. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. My son was an ox. He is stubborn. Yeah, sharks fight humans by accident. They're looking for seals.